Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to another episode of Sister's Sister with me, Aysha.
And me, Ameenah.
Today we are filming outside in the park because it is a really, really lovely day. We decided to come and meet in the park today because we had left our daytime jobs and we decided to come and start the podcast out here. And why not? It's a lovely sunny day. Alhamdulillah. So anyway, onto the video. So we are doing the second part. I know we've had parts 1 and 2 of the series, but we're going to do the second part, and this is going to be featuring the brothers. So we thought it was only fair that we introduced some brothers to this series. So if you haven't seen the first part of the series, it's us talking to sisters about their experiences with secret polygynous marriages. So if you do go have a chance, go back and look at those, because we really delve into what it's like to go into a secret marriage, what the implications are of going into a secret polygynous marriage, and how it feels, and what happens around being the first and the second wife in these situations. But this episode, is really about the brothers' input.
So the video we've got for you is an account from a brother. He's giving his side of the story of what it is like to be in a secret marriage, how that went for him, the implications on him, and the effects that it had on both of the women in the situation as well. So we're going to let you have a watch.
Yeah, and we'll come back here after this, after we listen to the brother and share some thoughts with you, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay, so my story starts from when I was a teenager. Me and my wife, my first wife, we met when we were teenagers. And we were together for many, many years, I think just over 20 years. We had kids together. And there came a point in our marriage where things were not happening. Husband and wife intimacy, And obviously I still had a strong desire where she had diminished in that department. And I spoke to her many, many times, and I said to her, look, I want to get a second wife because, I don't want to end up going and doing sin, which I wouldn't have done anyway because my imam wouldn't allow me to do such a thing. But I pleaded with her so many times, we spoke about it, we went over it, and it wasn't just something we went over for 5 minutes or something like that. We spoke about it for maybe over a year. And her only response every time was divorce me first. And that's the last thing I wanted to do. I did not want to divorce my wife. But she was not going to entertain it in any way, shape or form. The only thing she's saying is divorce me, divorce me. You can't even look after your first wife and you want to get a second wife. And I knew that this was definitely not going to happen. She will never ever accept it. And like I said, the last thing I wanted to do was to divorce my wife. So as time went on, I did meet a sister who's a divorcee, and she's got her own child from her previous marriage. And my options were that I carry on in this marriage, which is basically like a dead end in that department, or I go ahead and do what I need to do. And my understanding or my thinking was, look, if she doesn't know, it's not going to harm her. If she knows, then it's all over. But if she doesn't know, then I'll just get on and do what I need to do. And the other wife, the second wife, obviously she was happy to do an undercover marriage because she was from a culture which would not let her marry outside the family, would not let her marry outside the caste, would not let her marry outside the nationality. So she was stuck as well, because her choices of getting married And also because of her culture, because she's a divorcee and she's got a child, they see it like damaged goods, no one wants to know. Yeah, so she went for about 17 years with no contact with a man. She didn't have a husband, and there was no chance of her getting one because of obviously the cultural thing that we mentioned, that no one wants to marry a divorcee who's damaged goods. So I knew that I was entering into a lose-lose situation. Firstly, if I told my first wife I've done this, that's it, I've lost her, which I didn't want to do. Secondly, if she found out, I've lost again. So I had a choice of keeping it secret, which I believed that I could do. And trust me, sooner or later, it's going to come out. I don't believe that anyone can sustain an undercover marriage for too long. Even if it's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, eventually it's going to come out, that's for sure. And that's what happened. It came out. And this was like a manifest evil for us because I was lying and deceiving. I'm ashamed to admit. My second wife, because it was secret for her as well, she was lying and she was deceiving. Her family didn't know. She was claiming benefits as a single mother. Although I was financially supporting her, she had to lie to the benefits people and say, I'm a single mother. So is that money even halal? Even though I did give her financial help every month, a decent amount, she still signed on as a single mother. And then from my wife's point of view, once she had found out, she started doing the slander thing. That they're not married, they're having an affair, etc., etc. So things got nasty, and like I said, it was like a manifest evil. Then she started poisoning the kids. Oh, your dad's cheated on us. It's not about me, it's us, the family. He's cheated on you, the kids. Yeah, so she was trying to poison them into believing that dad's, cheated on us. He's having an affair and he's cheated on us. So the daughters were more sympathetic to their mum, and obviously they turned against me. Whereas my sons, they didn't express any emotion, but I could believe that they would be very heartbroken as well. So it was like a manifest evil that everybody got hurt. Nobody gained anything from this. Everyone was in some kind of a fitna. So as time went on, I was obviously moved out and I got a place by myself and my second wife. Because things had come out, she came and moved in with me, and now it was common knowledge that these two are husband and wife. There was a lot of rumours going around. Again, manifest evil. There was people talking behind our back. Guess what? He done this, she done that. They were sneaking around. All the rest of it. So there was a never-ending manifestation of evil from one thing to another. People backbiting, people slandering. She was slandering. I was lying and deceiving. My wife was deceiving my second wife. She was deceiving her own family. She was saying to her, obviously they don't know nothing. So if any proposals did come forward, which she claims did, she would have to make an excuse. Oh, I'm just concentrating on me and my son. I don't want, I'm not ready for marriage, etc., etc. And like I said, when she goes and claims money, she was claiming as a single mother. So it's something that I don't believe is a benefit. Even though at the time I thought, okay, I can play this, I could do this, I could keep it, I could keep this locked down. But for how long? How long? Personally, myself, through the experiences that I've had, I wouldn't do it again. And I wouldn't advise anyone to do it again because it's a lose-lose situation for sure. And a lot of people get hurt and a lot of sins are manifesting from it as well. So at one stage, I had 2 wives, and for the last 6 years, I've been on my own. Alhamdulillah, this is Allah's will. Yeah, so for the last 6 years, I've been living by myself. I try to focus on my deen. I've become a workaholic because there's a vacuum in my life that needs to be filled, and I filled it by working and with my team. So I mean, I have learned a lot from this, and I think everyone does get burned eventually. Like I said, how long can you keep it secret? Not very long. So inshallah, I hope that this little presentation, which was my own personal experience, tries to put like a balanced view on why people would want to do things in secret. I mean, things were done with her imam, she had her wali, she had 2 witnesses, so there was about 5 or 6 people who knew. Then obviously they would tell other people who were close to them, so some people did know. It wasn't publicly announced, and there was no drums beating and no walima or anything like that, but some people knew. So inshallah, I hope this is some benefit for people, and like I said, it's a lose-lose situation, because sooner or later you're going to get burned, and when you get burned, everyone gets burned. Everybody is going to get into this manifest sin in one way or another. It is a fitna. If you say to me, do you have any regrets? I would say, well, at the time, it was the right thing to do. I chose to do this. I made that choice. I knew what I was doing. I thought I could play it down, but you can't. Because women are not silly. Sooner or later, they're going to click on. In fact, my first wife, when the day I got married, she said to me, something's happened today. She noticed a change on the first day. Something's happened today, she said. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. Inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us preserve our families and our marriages and keep us far away from fitna. Ameen.
So this video was actually quite upsetting to watch, a little bit upsetting, because we've looked at things from the sisters' perspective, and it's been very much about how the sisters in the situation feel. And whilst that is still important, I think it is important to acknowledge how, what the difficulties are with polygyny, and the brothers looking into, or the brothers looking into even marrying, and it almost sounded like he had to kind of make a sacrifice, which again, we have spoke a lot about, what's wrong with actually going to go and marry again. But then this brother has shown quite a reason as to why he felt at that time he had no choice. And it's quite important actually, because he actually is quite clear that he doesn't agree with it. But then he felt at that time that he had no choice, didn't he?
And I think like you said, I think it's important for the sisters in this situation to acknowledge from the brother's perspective how difficult it is, how difficult we make it for them. And I'm not, that's not any excuse for there to be a secret marriage. That's not justifying secret marriages. That's just saying this needs to be a bigger conversation. It needs to be more education. There needs to be more understanding, and there needs to be more, sensitivity around the feelings on both parties. There may have been some other conversations that need to be had by the couples individually, where it's still kind of taboo, it's still kind of difficult to have those kind of conversations in marriages, and maybe that is something that needs to be highlighted. So obviously the brother spoke about intimacy, and that may be something that is familiar with other people.
People may be able to resonate, definitely.
One thing I don't think we maybe have thought about is maybe why was there the issue from the sister, and that's a whole nother conversation.
It is,
It's a whole nother conversation. But again, this is for individual couples to take note of, that these are the types of conversations which we might not be having, which you might have to try and start think about having. Because when the result is that your husband starts looking for another wife, automatically for that first wife, it must cause a sense of self-doubt, and you know, all these other emotions start coming into play. You know, ghira, it's natural for you to have that ghira for your husband and vice versa.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, these things are expected. But
that's
again,
going beyond ghira, isn't it? Because ghira is like a protective jealousy. But if you know, it's going beyond what Allah's made permissible.
Yeah.
We're not in a position at the moment to have, you know,
scholarly debates or anything.
Yeah. Well, I was more going to kind of channel it towards, you know, we're talking about other people's lives, so we are. Yeah. It's difficult. We're trying
assumptions, but
we're trying to look at, you know, each individual situation and try to put awareness out there, because there hasn't, from what I've seen, there isn't much on these subjects, and I think, you know, Ameenah, what Ameenah said about you know, talking about what is wrong in the marriage first is absolutely necessary, because there was, from this brother's account, there was something missing, something wrong. So is it then, you know, a good idea to bring somebody else into the scenario when, you know, that situation isn't, he may have tried to fix that situation, but of course, if that situation is still an issue, for whatever reason, that needs to be looked into, I guess, first, and then, you know, look at the other situation of actually marrying. But then on the other hand,
everyone's situation is different. You know, there's, from you know, there's so many things that might be a factor. It might be financial, it might be intimacy, it might be other things. You know. So
what I think was interesting about this story is that although the brother was actually married in a secret polygynous marriage for, I think it was about 10 years, right? He still very much made clear on the video that he is very much against the idea, because he says that, you know, people are going to get hurt. And then there's the side of it that, you know, if the marriage isn't announced, and we've spoken about this before in other videos, if the marriage is not announced, then, you know, there is always the element of, are they married, are they not married, because the community are not aware, the families are not aware, and as you know, within the sister situation, I mean, it's not to say people don't have reasons for doing these things. It sounds like, you know, he felt it was the best reason at the time, but then he ultimately does go on to say and make clear that, you know, to anybody that's considering it, he just wouldn't have done it that way, because the harms outweigh the benefit. And so, I found that was a really interesting part about it, that he is speaking from the place of a man, and feeling like it was a better option, and then consequently like changing his mind completely.
Yeah, and he had to go through the process, obviously, to know better. But alhamdulillah, and it was refreshing to hear his side, hear from the man's perspective, and be able to kind of weigh that up next to the sisters, because it's a big conversation, you know. And I think, inshallah, hopefully this video, these sets of videos encourage people to have these conversations and really get the education that's necessary in regards to marriage, in regards to polygyny, you know.
I mean, you know, it's always easier said than done, and it's easy for us to sit and have a conversation, and I just want to make clear that we're in no way, you know, speaking from a point of view of people that are in these situations, or, you know, have experience of these situations. We just have been getting so many messages from so many different sisters about, you know, secret marriages and how it's impacted on them or their family or friends in the past or currently, and we just really wanted to highlight it on Sister to Sister and bring it to the attention of the sisters. And I know this is you know, Sister to Sister, but we did think it was, you know, not only important but just right to have the brothers on and hear from the brothers, and even though the brother is anonymous, we did encourage other brothers to come forward and share their experiences, but we didn't have anyone.
Yeah, we didn't. We only
that
got the one
that came forward, which
but
is
mashallah, may Allah reward him.
Ameen,
For
Ameen.
sharing his story, because it is like you said, it's just that we, balanced it out with getting that perspective from the brothers.
Definitely.
Because this isn't a one-sided situation,
Yeah. So we have the second part of this 2-part series with the brothers, which we'll be putting out with this episode, where we speak to Gabriel Romani and Tox and Raquel. They are based in Syria, power couple, mashallah and Mubarak, and they do lots of charity work, lots of aid work out there. And they've been actually married for sort of over 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
And they've been living in Syria, haven't they?
Yeah.
And doing sort of loads of groundwork over there. So yeah, we have a really, really interesting conversation with those two about marrying in secret. We kind of touch on that, but we speak a lot about what we can do, the solutions in the community, and how we can make these kind of conversations, as you were talking about, a lot more open, a lot more honest, and what is the solution, what is the resolution, and where do we go from here? So
Inshallah.
I hope you guys are going to tune into that.
Inshallah. Yeah, it was a really, really good discussion. A lot of good points were made, a lot of good food for thought was brought up in that discussion. So do tune in, make sure you watch the next one, and like, comment and subscribe.
Assalamu alaikum.
That's all from us on another episode of Sister to Sister. We really appreciate all of the love, all of your messages and feedback. But until next time, be kind, as you never know what battle someone is facing.